Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 76 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one podcast in Canada. We're recording on Monday, May 15th, 2017.
Hi, I'm Gavin, a business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, content provider for Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders, and host of the Greater Toronto Area chapter of the Tactical Beard Owners Club.
All right, I'm Marty. I am happy to meet with the Ethics Commissioner and answer any questions that she may have.
What's up, guys? Sean here, father of one, IPSC IDPA 3-gun competitor and CCFR Regional Field Officer Coordinator for Saskatchewan.
I'm Tim, owner-operator of Tim's Good T-shirts. They're quite good. I'm a sports shooter and a proud descendant of immigrants.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm your host. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor for Ragnarok Tactical.
And we'd love to hear your feedback about the show, so please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. The edited version of the show is available on iTunes and Stitcher. And if you use the iTunes, you can leave a 5-star review there. And when you do, in the comment section, put down something you'd like me to drink for an episode.
All right, and if you like to waste your time on the social medias, you can check out the podcast on Facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast or on Instagram at Instagram.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast.
We need your help to support the show. Visit Patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon today. You can get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 an episode. And the more that you pledge, the better the rewards are. We'll go into my favorite part of the show. What are we drinking? We'll start with Kevin.
I am drinking, there we go. Gotta get used to this camera here. Crown Royal Vanilla and Coke Zero this evening.
That's different. What do you think?
It's actually quite delicious.
Quite good? What'd you say?
It's very, very good. Some people would say.
Would it be like a milkshake, like a root beer float?
It does.
Like that, but with
it does
Coke?
taste very reminiscent to a float, but with alcohol.
Alcohol.
That would make any float better.
Yeah, quite good.
I don't
quite
float.
good.
How are you making your floats?
All right, Marty, what are you drinking?
Coke Zero and Crown Maple tonight.
Sean.
Disgusting. Crown Maple's the worst. I'm sorry. I've got to shit on anyone who drinks that. That stuff is like maple syrup, like in a bottle. Anyway.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
you're describing the appeal.
Yes,
I drink it because it tastes like maple syrup with alcohol.
Yeah.
But maple syrup with everything jacked up to 1,000, so you can only have one drink and then puke.
Buy maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly, and then add whiskey to it. Anyway.
Yeah, you guys don't do that already?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm drinking actual beer tonight, Coors Banquet, out of the stubby bottle.
Nice.
Throwing it back to 1981.
Nice. Good work. Tim, what are you drinking? Is it got reverse osmosis water?
I'm starting off with a Rickards Red, and then I'm going to go into 40 Creek Copper Pot with reverse osmosis water.
Fantastic. I'm drinking the Crown Royal Northern Harvest tonight. Just ice, nothing else.
Yum.
We got to get some sponsorship from Crown Royal. That's all I'm saying.
No kidding.
Yeah, somebody. It doesn't have to be Crown Royal, although I have been giving them a lot of money of late. Somebody should sponsor my habit.
Yeah. They should enable us, is what they should do.
That's the dream, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I think the dream is actually to own our own brewery next to our own gun range. But
And distillery. Yeah.
but in the meantime,
Bush.
if somebody wants to contact Crown Royal and let them know that I need a drink. All right. That's
I got your back, bro.
I appreciate that. We also have a reminder for anyone still impacted by the flooding, if they want to contact the CCFR. CCFR has arranged temporary storage of firearms in the flooding-affected areas in the National Capital Region. You can reach them 1-844-243-CCFR or 1-844-243-2000. 888-2237, or sending an email, which is probably the easier thing to do, info@firearmrights.ca. All right, I want to talk about my weekend because it's my podcast, and that's what we're going to do. I shot ORA Service Rifle Match 1 this weekend. Had a fantastic time. We managed to shoot 3 out of the 4 matches, and we did it all in a single day, which is awesome. The new match director is doing quite well, but don't tell him I said that. We have a new match director for Service Rifle this year, and this weekend we did the match in one day where we normally spread it over 2 and do 4 stages. So we missed out on the one stage where we start back at 500, but otherwise we got through the match pretty well. Nothing terrible happened to anybody, and we had 21 competitors. It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
How is he
Downside.
compared to the CQB director?
He does not wear nearly enough multicam, but his fishing vest is very tactical.
Excellent.
He has fewer podcasts.
He does have fewer podcasts.
So Andrew, how did your shooting go? For the
Does he like sushi?
I don't know about the sushi, and my shooting did not go especially well. I managed to successfully complete the first match that we shot. I encountered a catastrophic failure of my NEA bolt midway through the second stage.
That will happen.
And, yep, I have an NEA mostly parts gun that I built. It's an NEA upper, lower barrel, and bolt carrier group. And if anyone would like to buy it, I'm willing to give them a very good deal on those parts because I'm taking the rest off and junking it.
Could you engrave
I'll be contacting NEA.
You accept bits of string.
Sorry, say again, Tim?
Could you engrave the side of it?
With
Why not?
Mulan labia, I
Canadian
believe.
Patriot Podcast Mullen Labia edition.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, you can't make it any worse. I had a new and exciting. I've never seen an AR personally do this. I've read about it on the internet. So the bolt broke at the web around the cam pin. So the bolt was completely in battery, hammed into the. I had a round in the chamber. I pulled the trigger. I heard the click. Nothing happened. I cycled the action. Nothing happened. I held the action open to the rear, and I looked inside and went, that's not how the firing pin's supposed to look. That's not how the chamber's supposed to look. Nothing about this is a good thing. And then I just walked the 300 meters up with everybody else to the safe part where I could disassemble the firearm and get the multi-tool out and safely remove the bolt and the live ammunition. It was a very shitty experience.
It's always fun when guns malfunction like that and you have a live round in there and you're like, well, fuck.
I've seen that kind of bolt break, and exactly what you're talking right where the pin goes.
I've read about
See
it.
it on another NEA or just another AR bolt?
I didn't want to give the wrong impression. I've seen pictures of it. I've never seen it myself. But.
Right, and I've seen pictures of it. I've never seen one fail, and I have seen ARs with something on the order of 50 to 60,000 rounds through them that have not had this type of failure. Normally, the thing that fails on the bolt is the locking lug, not the webbing that the cam pin goes through. So that was fun and exciting, and I'll be contacting NEA about why I did poorly at Service Rifle.
I'm sure they'll fix it pretty quickly though.
And it will
They
immediately
should
go
also
on gun nuts.
Give you a redo.
Yes, I want to do over. Actually, a lot of the competitors were very generous and offered to let me shoot with their bolt or their rifle or their upper, and I thought it was probably just best if I stopped touching guns for the day, because if that's not a sign from the gods that I'm supposed to be done shooting, I'm not sure what would be.
Yeah. And then what if they did give it back, you'll be all flustered and then you'll be scared to fuck their gun up or whatever.
Well, and that was kind of where I was. I'm like, this is my second major AR incident in the course of a week, so I'm pretty sure I should just stop. So I just ran targets and stuff. And
on the same gun?
No, on a different gun. I have somehow permanently adhered a muzzle device to a gun using just my bare hand, but that's another story.
Your kung fu grip. So I have a question. Is that as upsetting or more upsetting than getting a gun pulled on you by your provincial police force?
I think I was a lot calmer this time when the gun just broke because I knew it wasn't going to go off in my face.
Oh, unlike like a traffic stop.
Unlike a traffic stop that we may have discussed previously.
Wait, was that you guys who got stopped?
It was Andrew.
Was that at the charity shoot?
Oh no,
So
that was our
Tyler
computer.
and Matt.
Yeah. They definitely got the tactical takedown by the Brockville PD at last year's charity shoot, which I would greatly like to avoid at this year's charity shoot. If we could all not get arrested that weekend, that would be very good.
Or keep the guns pointed down range?
Yeah.
Not at us.
Andrew went through a ride program, and when they asked if they had any, you were dressed funny.
Yes. Why was I dressed funny in all of this multicam? Why was I wearing so much camouflage? Where was I going at 5 o'clock in the morning? What business did I have at a Canadian Forces base dressed like that? How many weapons did I have in the vehicle? Well, the answer is too many.
Yeah.
So, yeah, refer back to our back catalog.
That
The local constabulary.
That's a good show.
It was a good show. I got ripped out of the truck at gunpoint, and all my stuff got tossed on the ground. It was a good time, especially enjoyable experience for everyone involved.
And hats off to whoever trains police in Ontario on knife throwing.
Yes.
Throwing people's knives.
So I actually know the guy in Toronto that's responsible for qualifying all of the Toronto Police Service on carbines. He said that he can put me in touch with the OPP guy that does the knife throwing course.
Excellent.
Apparently he's well respected in the industry.
Excellent. Do we get a certificate?
No, we're going to be the
I'm wrong
training.
with that attitude.
You're saying there's an actual throwing knife course?
No, I'm not. But
No,
it just
And
seems to
not-
be something that happens.
And not knife
It wouldn't
throwing,
blow my
like,
mind.
throwing knives
Both-
at a target, like hucking them across the other side of the road so that you can't use it against them.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you have any weapons on you? And he said, "You have a knife in my pocket." And then Andrew had too many pockets.
Yes,
Well, who needs more than 4 pockets?
I was wearing my assault pants. That's
Yeah.
what that
Assault
comes down to.
pants.
It's a good thing you didn't
My
have
assault
assault
pants.
gloves on at the same time.
Which,
Oh,
by
I
the
should get
way, sorry, Ragnarok Tactical is putting an order in for 511. I'm not sure if that's gone through yet. But if you need assault pants, hit them up.
It's true.
It's true. I can get you a good price on assault pants or assault shirts, maybe
Only
even
assault
assault gloves.
Assault shorts.
Me in any kind of shorts is assault. All right, Marty, you want to just talk about the House of Uncommon Answers?
Wow. Yeah, this was something else. So the Liberals have been, as part of their proposed changes to the House, which I think we're going to do an episode on. So one of the changes that they want to do is to have a Prime Minister specific question period. So their proposal is that every Wednesday, the Prime Minister will be there for question period and will answer questions from all MPs. So they've done a couple of these now. This past week on Wednesday was the third time they've done this. So we have Trudeau, who's answering all the questions. He's not going to defer them to essentially Bardish, who normally answers all of the questions for him. So for this question period, Trudeau is going to answer them all. So the fun thing with this one was the Liberal or the Conservatives and the NDP basically teamed up and asked him the same question 18 times during the question period and tried to get him to answer it. So let's run through some of these questions and answers, and let's hear what Trudeau had to say to these questions. So we start off. The first one is in French, so you can hear the translator. Jacques Gourde. Let's hear the question and go through them.
The poor decisions by the Prime Minister lead him to have to explain himself to the Canadian public and the conflict of Interest Commissioner as often as a disobedient kid ends up standing in the corner to think things over. The Prime Minister must exhibit some consistency and integrity and answer questions clearly before this House. Mr. Speaker, how many minister met the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Commissioner to discuss his elastic version of ethics?
Simple question. How many times has he met the conflicts of interest?
Mr. Speaker, as you know, I'm always perfectly pleased to work with the Commissioner to answer any questions she may have.
That didn't sound like a number.
That's his answer. No.
Distinctly lacking
luckily,
a number.
So luckily, Jacques has a follow-up question that he can ask. Let's hear what the follow-up was.
This is a very simple question. It's also a question of trust. Canadians will deduce that there are laws that apply to them, but that some laws do not apply to the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I repeat my question. How many times has the Prime Minister met the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Commissioner? How many times?
So now I think that the question is clear, right? Like,
Pretty black and white.
for the number.
Even
As
I
I
can
always
follow
said,
that.
I was very happy to meet with the Ethics Commissioner and work with her to answer any questions she may have on this topic and any other topic.
Does anyone feel this question's been answered yet?
Doesn't sound like a number yet, no.
Still waiting.
All right, so we got Candice Bergen. She's up next. Let's hear what she has to say.
Mr. Speaker, a moment ago, the Prime Minister arrogantly insulted our opposition House Leader and said she was confused. Let me just say, I think this is actually full confusion right now with the Prime Minister. So I will repeat the question in English, because the question is not if he is happy or satisfied or feeling good about meeting the Ethics Commissioner. Has the Prime Minister met with the Ethics Commissioner? And if so, how many times? Very, very...
There we go. Now we have it in English. Should all be
Pretty
clear
black
enough.
and white.
You know, I think we'll get the answer this time.
Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to work with the Ethics Commissioner and Conflict of Interest Commissioner to answer any questions she may have. That's what Canadians expect of the Prime Minister, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
So, and it just gets angrier and angrier as we go on. So, all right. So, Candice Bergen has a follow-up question.
What Canadians expect is that their Prime Minister would give a clear answer to a clear and a simple question. Now, if he has something to hide, then Canadians want to know that as well. So I would suggest, if he wants to send Canadians the message that he has nothing to hide, that he answer the question. How many times has the Prime Minister met with the Ethics Commissioner?
All right. So we're calling him out now. Let's hear what he has to say.
Mr. Speaker, I am very happy to work with and answer the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Commissioner questions. I think it's extremely important that we be working.
Yeah, so then because there's too much noise, he got cut off, and he basically got the chance to respond again, where he said the exact same thing. So again, this is the Liberals' proposal to make, you know, the majority party held accountable, and this is their transparency of government. The Prime Minister is going to answer all of the MPs' questions. So far, you know, we're 0 for 4 questions. So next up was John Brassard.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister keeps saying he's happy to meet with the Ethics Commissioner and answer any questions she might have, but he's really playing a game of political survivor by outwitting, outplaying, and outlasting the Ethics Commissioner over his vacation to Billionaire Island. It's been asked 4 times already. I don't even know why I'm trying, to be frank, but I'll repeat this simple question. How many times has the Prime Minister met with the Ethics Commissioner?
All right, let's hear what he has to say.
Hello? Bueller?
Oh, I think we lost Marty.
No, he's just giving Trudeau's answer, which is nothing.
Maybe.
I would rather listen to that than his answer.
I got something for this. Well, that's good. I couldn't take much more of that shit anyway. I'm gonna make a drink.
We're driving Tim, or better yet, Justin Trudeau is driving all of us to drink.
Maybe he secretly owns shares of Crown Royal.
God, I hope not, because I really enjoy that product. I would hate to give it up. Anyway, so there's obviously a recurring theme there, right?
Yes, there is definitely a recurring theme, and I am
same with the same answers that Harjit Sajjan, whatever his name, I can't pronounce his name properly, gives. It's the same rhetoric that we get every single time. And when are we going to get some? What's the word I'm looking for?
Rope.
Well, no, because there has to be some. There's a word I'm looking for, and I can't find it. I'm normally really good with this, but you have to hold them to. When are we going to get some accountability? There it is. Boom. When are we going to get some accountability from this guy? He asked a pretty black and white question, and he still gives the rhetoric BS. Like, what the hell?
I don't even think this is really rhetoric at this point. It's copy and paste answers. Like, at least if it was rhetoric, they would alter the language.
It's a shameless show of contempt for the people and their elected officials. And it's so infuriating because I bet if you cornered 80% of the people that voted for that clown, you couldn't make them watch that video. You could post it to their Facebook and say, hey, you voted for Trudeau. You say you did. Watch this. And I bet they wouldn't.
No.
All right, I'm back, guys.
Oh, hey, how's the pigeons?
Down one, but I think we got enough to make it to the rest of the podcast.
You still sound like Terminator.
That's because he actually is Terminator.
Hey. OPSEC.
We were just discussing the finer points of how the Liberal government isn't even by the answer. They're just repeating the same thing. Just like Harjit Sajjan did.
Yeah, they literally can't even.
Yeah, and it was because of the Harjit. I mean, I made the comments a couple times saying that this is what they've been doing. And so they've really used this question period to expose and highlight it to an extreme that they're refusing to answer any questions in the House. I'll run through a couple more other questions because there are a couple good ones in here where people get really pissed off and it's fun. This was the later of John Bassard's.
What a charade, Mr. Speaker. This Prime Minister said he would stand up every Wednesday and answer every question that's being asked of every member on this side of the House, and he fails to do it. He's been asked 5 times today, Mr. Speaker, about the Ethics Commissioner. For the sake of my colleagues, I'll ask it again. How many times? 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 And how many times has he met with the Ethics Commissioner?
Speaker, Canadians expect clarity, they expect consistently, and when asked the same question, I will give the same answer. That's what Canadians expect. I will work with and answer the questions that the Ethics Commissioner and Conflict of Interest Commissioner may have.
So I agree with him in theory, but you have to answer the question first before you can give the same answer.
Yeah. Consistency is good, but only when you actually answer the question.
Right. Now let's just do one more, because we have Angry Tom on here, and Angry Tom is always fun.
Oh, give her, Tom.
Mr. truly believes in the importance of question period. If he sincerely believes in transparency and accountability, he's going to have to find it somewhere inside himself to answer this very basic question, because it only concerns him, and he knows the answer. He is being investigated by the Ethics Commissioner. How many times has the Prime Minister communicated with the Ethics Commissioner? Answer the question.
Let's do it for one last response.
Mr. Speaker, when asked the same question, I will give the same answer. I'm happy to work with the Ethics Commissioner on any questions she may have. And one of the things that I like about Prime Minister's question period is I get to take questions from any MP across the way who has their questions, not just the party leader, which I think is important for all members in this House to be able to ask direct questions of the Prime Minister.
What has that got to do with
Just
anything?
not get the right answers.
Oh, I mean,
so any MP can ask him a question, but he's still not answering the bloody question. Someone find me my rope.
It would be awesome is if somebody in his own party asked him the same question.
Oh, like they would not be in his party for very long.
No, but how awesome would that be?
Yeah. So even like as this went on, he started trying to use his full time. And so he started saying like, you know, I'm happy to meet with the ethics commissioner whenever she wants, answer any questions. But over here, you know, we're working on, you know, improving the economy and getting improving like low cost housing, and just started like going through like their budget bullshit and just started saying all kinds of random shit after his responses as it went on. So I think it was 18 times in the question period, and was never answered the question once. And 18 times he gave the same canned answer, the same talking point without ever answering the question. 18 times in the question period that they are holding up as the sort of like their take on what an accountable, transparent government should be like. 18 times refusing to answer a question is the Liberals' sort of take on a transparent, accountable government. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I have a clip here from MP Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, go for it.
Play it one more time because it cut out.
Did it?
I ain't gonna keep asking nice.
Did it cut it out?
No, it was fine that time. I'll fix it in post.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I love that the Conservatives and NDPs did this. They really highlighted what bullshit this is, and they made a spectacle of the entire question period with Trudeau. And unfortunately, you know, where is the outrage from our media? Where was the coverage on this? Yeah, this was a huge deal in our government, and almost nothing in our media about it.
Well, yeah, like this question thing is like a brilliant idea and should be a good thing, but like they've made a farce out of it. Like,
right, and in the question period, yes, the Prime Minister should answer questions directed to him. That does not need a rule change in the House. That does not need the Prime Minister can stand up and answer any question directed to him. It's up to the Prime Minister to do that. And right now, Trudeau does not do that. He will not stand up to any questions posed to him, with the exception of typically the first question from each of the House leaders. After that, everything gets passed off to Barty Shager.
Yeah, but what do you expect?
Canadians deserve better.
Of course.
No, nobody's got that drop.
Oh yeah, I have that drop.
Canadians deserve better than that. Perhaps it was naive.
Yeah, I'm not happy about this. This is not how you govern a democratic country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just very black-pilled on this. This is not how you govern a democratic country. This is not how the House of Commons is supposed to work. This is not how a multi-party system is supposed to operate. This is not a transparent government. There is nothing. I have no positive commentary about this. Somebody find me my fucking rope.
If there was any like justice in this whole democratic system that we have in Canada, this would be enough to get the Liberals from having even a minority government for like a decade.
It's not though, Tim. That's the thing.
Who knows about this?
Right. The people that voted these idiots into power aren't aware of this because none of them are like Marty and diligently watched House coverage. There is no play for this in the mainstream media at all. The only way that you would have seen this is if you actually watched the House coverage, which essentially no one in the country does.
Okay. Are we allowed to take House coverage? Like, is that on YouTube, Marty?
It will be once Marty and I are done with it.
It's on CPAC.
Yeah. Can you take CPAC and edit it and make a video and put it on your own YouTube channel?
I don't know if we can, but we're gonna.
As far as I don't know what's going to stop
I can help in that. And we'll make a video that'll be short and sweet. Everyone should have time enough to watch it. And I'm going to challenge the listeners to the CPP to share this on social media and send the links to like anyone they think that will watch this video. Let's pick up the slack for this.
You know, I understand it's a bit of a dry topic for the podcast, but it's just so important that this, like, the level of sort of obfuscation that they're doing in the government right now. And just as another thing, a letter came out today from the Prime Minister's office of effective immediately, the Prime Minister has recused himself from all matters related to the appointment of the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner inquiry into the Prime Minister's family vacation this past Christmas. The Prime Minister has designated the leader of the government in the House of Commons, Minister Bardish Jagger, to fulfill any relevant obligations in relation to the appointment process for the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner. This is his way of avoiding a conflict. Yeah, as a way of avoiding a conflict of interest, he Jagger to choose the person doing her boss.
And who is she again? She's his third nanny.
That would be his personal nanny, as opposed to the nanny for his children.
Yeah, and I mean, why they're doing this? I mean, not the appointment, but like in terms of refusing to answer the questions. They're not being held accountable. Criticism for doing so by using only canned responses, I think, on his feet. And so he's not saying stupid shit like the budget will balance itself and the China and like all the terrorists should keep their citizenship. Like, just by preventing him from saying anything, as long as he doesn't say anything, then he's not saying anything dumb.
So they've got a monkey and they've trained it to not fling poo.
No, they've trained it to only fling the same piece of poo, but it's a clean piece, so it's okay.
Exactly.
With the fake news epidemic, it's so easy. Like, if you just keep saying the same thing over and over again, like, people can't cut and paste the audio together to make it sound like he's answering the question differently, right? It's just the same answer.
No, but wait till we cut it together and it sounds like he's answering the same question 18 different times.
Yeah, but that's what's actually happening, so...
Yeah, but it's going to be glorious when we edit it.
It's like you found some 1950s marketing manual where you just repeat the thing again and again. Anderson.
No, this is a 1970s marketing manual from his father.
But again, you have to remember, these MPs that are there asking questions are there representing you and I. So by answering these questions, he is refusing to answer the questions from the Canadian citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm surprised by that. I mean, I think we pretty much called this when they won the election, that this is going to be how they ran their government, and that's what they're doing, is living up to my expectations.
Well, I mean, they
Because-
have a majority, so, you know.
Why would you question them, right?
Yeah.
Which actually,
Do you not agree?
I'm going to put one more question. I'll play one more question. I'm not going to bother with the response, but I'll play one more question. This is from David Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A new day, new respect for Parliament, answering every question of every member. We're going to respect Parliament more. These are all the things that Mr. said when he was campaigning. And now today, as you said, Mr. Speaker, Canadians will be able to judge the veracity of those words. Could you please tell the House how many times you've met with the Ethics Commission?
Let me guess, you'd be happy to discuss that with the Ethics Commissioner.
If you want to hear, okay, here's the response.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to work with the Ethics Commissioner to answer any questions she may have. We continue to be pro-Canadians, whether it's restoring the federal government's engagement in housing. For 10 long years, the federal government withdrew its support for national housing strategies.
That's enough of that. I've muted Marty. You'll have to unmute yourself. That I can't listen to that guy speak anymore.
I can't
unmute you, Marty. You have to do it yourself.
I just ran a Google search, Sean. I don't think Fidel ever wrote a book in the 70s.
All right. Do we have any other comments
Well
for
played,
changes
well
to the
played.
House? Or can we go on to something that I'm actually excited about? Okay, good. We're going on to something that I'm excited about. Canada has been urged to acquire attack helicopters.
Yeah, buddy.
Not just any attack helicopter either. The recommendation is that we acquire Boeing AH-64 Apache gunships. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Let's get fucking Apaches.
Well, I mean,
The cultural appropriation.
You could call them, what would be the locals? We could call them Iroquois, but that is actually another helicopter. So
Iran.
Huron, yeah. Or,
the Cree.
do we have Métis? Could we call it the Métis helicopter?
Le
Menace?
Métis.
Well, yeah, because it'd be bilingual, because it's
Yeah.
Canadian forces, right? So one side be English, the other side would be French.
No, that works.
Could
God,
we
did I
get
actually
more
kick
of
Marty
the,
off the show?
Warren Southern-
There you
No,
go.
I'm
Say
here,
that
right?
again? Yeah.
Lauren Southern attack helicopters. That'd be budget money well spent.
Yes, we should. I'm okay with that. Yeah, this is freaking awesome. I don't think this is going to happen, but
Well, no, because we're sending Italy some money because they need it.
well, I mean, it's very important that we give Italy $1.4 million to help rebuild. Why are we giving Italy money, and why are we giving them $1.4 million? That both of these
You know what
things.
they're going to do?
They have a vote in the UN.
Our neighbor Greece. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think Marty is right. This is going to come back to the UN. But helicopters. I want to talk about helicopters. Let's get autistic about helicopters for a minute, because we've got a bunch of old Griffin helicopters. We got 100 Griffin helicopters.
They could do is they could sell those off to private individuals to help.
No,
raise
I have
funds.
I have an ongoing email alert on Gov deals for helicopters. just waiting for those things to come available.
Surplus.gc.ca.
Here's the drop.
I cannot stress enough that you are going to need personal quality flight instruction.
So I'm pretty happy about this. The Standing Committee on National Security and Defense came out with their report, which had a lot to do with helicopters this year. Just over half of our fleet of just about 100 Griffin helicopters are slated for midlife renovations and upgrades, which is good because the Griffins are a relatively old style of helicopter based on the Bell 412. So they're from the 70s. They're old. It's time for some renewals. There was also a lot of problems using the Griffins in Afghanistan. They weren't really suited to the atmospheric conditions. The air is a little bit thin in the mountains of Afghanistan, so they were having some problems with lifting heavy equipment. There's also a proposal to get more of the Boeing CH-147s, which is the Chinook medium lift helicopter. The Chinook is awesome. We want more of those. They're for delivering infantry and supplies to the infantry. If we're going to keep having battles in Afghanistan and deploying troops into contested territories, do that over IED-infested roadways. If we could drop them in by helicopter, that would be preferable.
They can move arty and they can move labs, can't they?
Yes, they can. You can install artillery and labs. What's the question, Marty?
So why aren't we looking at using private contractors? Like the U.S. already right now does a lot of their transport and delivery using private contractors. If it works for them, why wouldn't that be something that Canada looks at, as opposed to sort of buying and maintaining these ourselves? The U.S. model has shown that it's a lot cheaper to use these private contractors to do this type of work, obviously in non-combat roles, but
that is because Ragnarok has not opened up its private military force just yet.
I wonder what's required to start a PMC in our country. It can't be any harder than getting a gunsmithing license.
Watch, the qualification is you need a gunsmithing license. Damn it.
That's actually how you get a gunsmithing license in Ontario. Is you have to be a gunsmith. But then you can get the gunsmithing license. You can't obtain the gunsmithing license or be a former police officer. That's right. Because if you were an armorer for the police, you're clearly a gunsmith.
So if I build a gun, does that make me a gunsmith?
No. No, it's a catch-22. You have to be a gunsmith in order to become licensed to become a gunsmith.
Well, that just sucks.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if we start a private military contracting company and acquire some helicopters, then we can become licensed to start a private military contracting company and acquire said helicopters that are in our possession.
Yeah, sounds about right. I'm in.
Okay, the attack helicopters, sure, that needs to be owned by our military, and that needs to be purchased by our military, but a large portion of the helicopter services is transporting people and goods that can be done by private companies. They can be scaled a lot easier based on demand. It's cheaper. It requires a lot less personnel than doing it the government way.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, Marty, but I'm not really interested in that. What I'm interested in is half delivering people.
Tim's talking about going up. Tim not care so much about the down part. They're on their own for that.
Well, I mean, it'll save you fuel costs, right? Because as you fly, your weight decreases. So, I mean, that's just cost effective right there.
Yeah. So the general populace should probably buy some good rubber boots. And a good stick.
I do like that they want to double the size of the Chinook fleet. That would be, I think, if we're going to continue to maintain the peacekeeping operations that our sitting government has declared that we will participate in. Not that they've actually decided which particular peacekeeping operations those will be, but we've committed to the UN that we will do some kind of peacekeeping.
All of them.
If we're going to have to do that, I'm very okay with going from 15 to 36 Chinooks, because that will keep people from having to drive over IED-infested roads, and it means that we can deploy infantry troops quickly and easily, and then easily egress from areas of contact. This is good tactics. I'm with Marty. I think this is going to be terribly inefficient, but on the upside, more helicopters, and some of them are Apaches, and I like that plan.
Well, now, let's keep in mind that this is... Sorry, Marty, go on.
I was going to say, we have to wait and see what the new defense strategy is, which has been delayed now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think this is going to happen. I think we're going to commit to doing something for the UN, and we're not going to have the equipment or troops or training or financing to actually support.
What if we commit to the UN that we're going to buy helicopters? That solves both of those problems.
Okay, when you guys say UN, you mean like United Nations, right?
Yes, that UN.
Well, that sounds nice.
It does. I mean, I prefer the League of Nations. I think it has a more regal title, but
I'm in a pistol league. I like it.
Yes, and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was a great story.
Yeah, you can tell I put a smile on my face before I say league.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting any money for this, but it would be nice if we actually got money for this.
You know, since we're blackpilling on a Monday, this is just pressure being put on. They're not going to put any funds into this whatsoever.
No, I'm sure they're not, but I still really want us to have attack helicopters.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Since
Lauren right next to our A-10s.
Oh, God. Could we have A-10s? I want close air support. Because, again, if we're going to have to deploy to some peacekeeping operation in support of the UN, I want close air support, and I want it done by something that will put the fear of God into whatever we're shooting at, and an A-10 will do that.
Nothing says don't fuck with my people than a 20mm depleted uranium shell.
Yeah, but you know the guy that came up with the A-10 was a seriously deranged individual. Hey, Bob, come look at this thing. Look, I built a gun and I strapped a plane to it.
Yeah, I built a plane around my gun.
Yeah,
I wonder what else we could strap one of those guns to. Just
a CK helicopter.
When you fire a burst, it slows down.
And we found a way to recycle our nuclear waste.
Yeah.
The Greenies are going to love it.
Hey,
the Chinese do that with kids' toys.
It's also carbon neutral.
I don't know about that.
No, it is, because every time
I think you just made that up, actually.
No, every time you kill a shitbag,
it's like fertilizer.
They stop breathing. Yeah, they stop producing CO2, right? Yeah.
They stop stealing the oxygen.
Therefore, carbon neutral.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that we get some or any of these helicopters. I mean, even midlife upgrades for the Griffins would be great, because some of those helicopters are not in the best repair. So if we can modernize and upgrade, awesome. If we can double the size of the Chinook fleet, even better. If we can get new search and rescue birds, again, awesome.
I would be happy with the purchase of 5
Apache helicopters.
Yeah. No, Apaches is pushing it, guys. I would settle for a few Cobras from Vietnam. I think that would be okay.
Only if we can go surfing.
Charlie doesn't surf.
But Charlie don't surf.
Yeah, but we can.
Not very well.
And show them how big they are.
And I mean, at the very least, like, they should let us get in on a group buy. You know.
Or maybe we can contract Bombardier to design one, since we saved their company.
Yeah.
Could we not give Bombardier money? Like, maybe they could just give me a
helicopter. Yeah, they just
No,
owe us a few.
apparently we can't not give Bombardier money, because even when they say, "Oh, it'd be nice, but we don't really need it," we still give them money. So no, we can't. We can't not.
Can we at least
didn't we buy them tickets to Broadway show as well?
Are we
Sure
transitioning
did.
to that?
I don't have enough whiskey.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I think that's still a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Toronto news, because Toronto, as we all know, is the center of the universe. A minor, a 17-year-old male, is facing charges in, I don't know what this is, rampant stupidity, parental negligence. He decided to take to social media, I assume this means Twitter, and post that he was inviting...
This is a Facebook, for sure.
You think this is Facebook?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you could fit this into 140 characters. So he invited people to go to the Scarborough Town Center.
Facebook expert, Marty.
He invited people to go to the Scarborough Town Center to engage in a gun battle. But burners were not being provided, and participants must bring their own guns. Winner is the last person alive, $10,000 cash prize. Which, I mean, if
to be
they
fair,
had
that's a
the money-
regular Saturday at that mall.
I don't know. Is there always a $10,000 cash prize?
Wow.
Sounds like a TPS sting.
Well, I maybe.
That would actually be brilliant.
If I saw this and there was a $10,000 cash prize to go wipe out some drug dealers and scumbags in Toronto's, I'd bring my own burner for that. I feel like I have good odds.
So, also, I love that he's scheduled to appear in court at 1911.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
So
they
good.
can't
So
afford those high quality
appropriate.
burners. There's no way that they were using 1911s. This was clearly a high point or a Glock 40.
Well, High Point Ave was already taken by some other building, so they couldn't put a courtroom.
I don't understand. How is someone this fucking stupid that they're gonna? How is someone this fucking stupid? Where's this kid's parents? Like,
That's
beat
socialized.
your fucking children more. Seriously,
They're busy voting liberal.
beat your fucking children more, and this shit wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
What?
I'll beat my
Like,
kids live here on Monday nights.
Fuck. How fucking stupid are you that you would post something like that on Facebook that you want to go and shoot up? Like, could you imagine if any of us on the panel, because we're all, and I'm making some sweeping accusations here that we are all white men. We all look how we identify.
Don't judge me. You don't know me.
If any of us were to post on social media that we wanted to have a gun battle at Scarborough Town Center, burners not provided, and there was a $10,000 cash prize, how long do you think it would be before the cops kicked in our doors and put us all at gunpoint up on charges for terrorism?
Probably not long.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially thanks to this podcast, the fact that the RCMP is watching everything we do.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah, they're
Well,
probably outside our door every
immediately
Monday night.
they would turn on like the microphone and the phone on your camera. If your if your
If they
cell
aren't
phone
already
is
on.
on, then they would turn on the microphone and the camera. And then they'd be able to see into your room and they'd hear everything that's going on. And they'd have your GPS position. And then stand by, SWAT team is on its way.
yeah, there's that no-knock warrant at work. But yeah, some Yahoo in Toronto, a misguided youth who I'm sure is an honors student in the Toronto school system, who is just about to make it big in whatever his particular field of endeavor is. I'm sure he's going to be out. I'm sure he's going to be out with the charges being reduced or eliminated in essentially no time flat. Also,
sure
how did they get a court date in less than a week?
Sorry, what was that?
How did they manage to get this guy a court date in a week?
Well, it's a gun crime, right?
No, yeah, it's not. He's
Well,
not
that
going.
mean,
It's not like he's going to trial in a week. He just has to. It'll just be for like preliminary. in terms of
preliminary
whether or not
hearings.
they- Yeah, exactly.
That without, Wynn's Law, they'll be able to do that in 10 seconds, so it's easy to fit in.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure this guy was a top-notch contributor to society. A boy.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly.
So
Yeah.
I mean, we can all understand this. Obviously, there was nothing to this. This kid was just a shitbag trying to cause problems.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious in terms of what his motivation was on this. I really I'm struggling. Okay, I'm trying to put myself in that place. I'm a shitbag and I want to just cause shit because I think it's funny. This up, what do I think is going to happen? Obviously, no one's going to take this bait. It's I don't understand what he's trying to do here.
Well, it was obviously a cry for help, right? He's Well, the guy's got some issues. And go on, Martin or Gavin. Sorry,
but that's the thing. There is no if people do take it seriously and show up, that's not a good situation. If people think he's being an idiot and he's using his real name and everything, that's not a good. There's nothing good that comes from this. It's not funny.
it's a cry for help, and the kid has issues. He's lonely and didn't get his love from his mom and dad or whoever. And, he's wanting to put that pain onto others, and he just did it in the wrong way. And
I'll say right now, there is no father figure in this kid's life.
No, for sure. But, one kid, you don't know that. One can assume he might have a shitbag, meth addled, or, whatever, right? You don't know. But
that's what I'm saying. It's not a father figure.
It's obviously.
Yeah,
like whether it's non there or just like a shitbag, that's one or the other, but.
But regardless, he had no intention of starting a gun battle. It's the same thing as other threats, like saying, Marty, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Okay, that's one thing, but saying I'm gonna fucking kill you at this date and time with this gun and this here, that's different, right? And this kid obviously had issues, and he needs help, and he's gonna get it, being he's a juvenile in the system. But still, this is going to be spun into some rhetoric well, this kid could have went and shot up if he went and got one of those assault rifle 15s,
yeah,
it would have been a serious problem there.
That's
so
good point.
So, but no, the kid obviously has problems. He's probably not the best socially, or he's probably very socially inept. And he's going to get some help, hopefully, in this, and that's that. Especially in a town like Scarborough, he's probably going to get help that he desperately needs. And this was just a cry for help. But anyway,
he's going to end up getting an ass whooping that he deserves. Hopefully,
you bet your ass. I mean, that's what he needs.
What's the charge on this? It's public nuisance and mischief.
Yeah, there's mischief.
Yeah, one count mischief.
One count of mischief.
Yeah, one count mischief, one count common nuisance. So I'm thinking no fine, maybe community service, no time served.
They'll probably give him a court mandated psychiatrist and whatever.
Yeah, so maybe he gets the help that he is desperately in need of, but
and then they just give him free drugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna make him so drug riddled he's gonna barely be able to sling fries at McDonald's.
See? So this comes back to my earlier point. Parents, nuclear family, then beat your children. It's a 2-step process.
Fucking right.
Now,
maybe to help
being use of force certified. I must highlight the fact that while beating your kids, you must yell, "Stop resisting."
Yeah. And if they show any sign of resisting, you have to back off at least a little bit.
Yeah, that makes it official, Marty.
Yeah.
Sounds about right to me.
But you're not pistol whipping the kid.
No.
Weapon.
No.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
All right.
Only with a baton, and only about the shoulder area, not the head.
Yes. It's about the shoulders, not about the head and shoulders.
Yeah.
All right. Let's we've got one more news article tonight. I'll call out some obvious biases where we get this from in a moment, but apparently the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal has handed out a $12,000 fine to a landlord for failing to remove his shoes when showing off a tenant's dwelling unit. I can't even. I can't even.
I know.
WTF, mate.
So
as you said, the source is a little bit. I mean,
yeah. So this comes from the Rebel.media, written by Faith Goldie. So obviously, there's some echoing about that title, but so the obvious bias is these are a more right-leaning media outlet than most, and they have a various obvious bias against Muslims. So
what's the difference from the Rebel.media and the CBC? CBC leans so left it fucking hurts me in the asshole, and then the Rebel.media puts this out. Yeah,
no,
so it's the same thing.
Yeah,
it is. But it's the same thing. I don't believe the things that the CBC says, just like I don't take everything at face value that the Rebel says.
Like they certainly
it's the same thing on opposite sides.
Yeah, they're taking some liberties in the way that they explain some of the stuff here, because like if you currently rent, like if you own a unit and I rent it from you, yes, you own the property, but I also have property rights as the renter. So the way they describe it in the article is that like this guy got this fine for walking around with shoes on in his own property.
His own house,
Which is a bit of an exaggeration. Like, yes, he owns the property, but if you are currently renting it, that property is yours and you hold rights as a tenant. So it's also yours.
There are definitely tenants' rights. In Ontario particularly, tenants have more rights than landlords in almost every case.
Yeah, like your landlord just can't walk into your place, even if they own the property. Like you have to give them permission, or there needs to be like a desperate need. So they don't really say that.
Go on, Marty.
I agree with you, everything you said, but there is no law saying that you must take your shoes off.
Exactly. Exactly.
And he was showing it to future tenants. So there was obviously some notice given from A, the tenant that, hey, we're moving out, and B, we're coming to look at this property between this time and this time. We're coming and this is it. It didn't. There's no law that states you got to take your fucking shoes off.
No.
Did we just
did they even ask him to?
We take like 1 minute and just do a quick summary of the article, because I know we read the article, we've kind of discussed it, but I don't know. Like there might be people listening to the podcast.
Yes, good, very good point.
Yeah.
Tim, please summarize the article for our listening audience. Worst podcast host ever. Fuck off! Where'd you get that?
That was great.
I know that guy. He sounds like a dick. All right, Tim, summarize the article.
Okay. There's a fellow called John L. Abbey. He's a 52-year-old Ontario man who's been issued a Sharia ticket for $12,000. Now, first of all, this is right off the Rebel Media's webpage. I don't know. Is there such a thing as a Sharia ticket?
No. He got a ticket from the Human Rights Tribunal or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's something I want to come back to in a minute.
Yeah. So just a quick aside, I can't help myself. The Rebel Media, I always used to champion them because like the CBC is so far left, and I always said, well, the Rebel is kind of the balance, but it isn't really a balance to the CBC because of funding, but the Rebel, it is kind of far right, even in this article. But onward, John Alabi, who's a 52-year-old Ontario man who was issued a ticket for $12,000 by the province's Human Rights Tribunal, and he didn't take his shoes off in his Muslim tenants' unit while they were where they prayed. Okay. So the gist of it is, I'm going to stop reading because apparently I can't.
Whiskey.
Use your whiskey.
This is a fellow who came to Canada as an immigrant, and he's now a landlord, and he was renting property out to a Muslim couple, and he's a Christian, and because of difficulties, the tenants were going to leave. And he was beginning to show his apartment to other people, and he was following all the little loopholes and stuff that you got to jump through. Like you have to give them a 24-hour notice before you show the apartment. That's what Ontario law is. And what happens is like they asked for an hour's notice for each individual showing so he could make sure that his wife's hair was covered before the company came, or before he went to show the apartment, because she can't show her hair.
Fair.
Muslim. So as everyone in Ontario knows, like the landlord is kind of like screwed. Even though they own the property, they really don't have a lot of rights. The tenant has so many rights. But what he got nailed with is when he was showing the apartment, he was walking through the apartment, and they said that he wasn't being sensitive to their religion because he was walking through the area where they pray, which is in their bedroom, with his shoes on. So it's his property, and like Evan says, he has rented it to these people, and if they were the current occupant, then it is their property. And but like, what means
but what was wearing his shoes?
Say that
like,
this guy
how is that really impacting anyone?
Well, and this is like, did they even ask him to remove his shoes? Like, I mean, obviously, like, I mean, when you watch all the, you know, TV shows, movies, etc., you see them all going to pray and they all take their shoes off and leave them by the thing and everything else. But like, that's at a mosque. How do you know like what room they pray in at a home? You don't even know whether they asked the guy. Like, I mean, they asked him politely to take off his shoes, and then he started, you know, spouting off a bunch of, you know, racial slurs and everything. Then okay, fine, like that's inappropriate. But like, it doesn't say any of that. It just says that, you know, he didn't take off his shoes in their bedroom, which is where they pray, and he gets a ticket.
Well, okay, so
this is one of the issues of. All right, this is one of those issues of kind of only having the one source that we know is going to look at it from one perspective. We don't get to see both sides in this report.
Yeah,
this report is written. Yeah. Absolutely, this is not right because, for example, I mean, yes, he might be violating their, but he is not of their religion, and it's not like he's not necessarily. Like, he may not necessarily have understanding of their religion and their certain practices, and he's not be expected to know those things.
Yeah. So I can kind of speak to this, right? I've got my son goes to a predominantly Muslim family for daycare for 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she has requested to me that if I were to drop him off, my son, that I do it between this time and this time. And when she answers the door, she'll have her kneecap up, and that's it. Now, there was one time where she did answer the door. She didn't know it was me. It was supposed to be my wife, or my fiance, to do it. And she showed up, and her hair was down, and I thought the fucking world was going to end. She turned around. She hasn't looked me in the eye since, but she turned around and, you know, put it up, and then took my son. But, you know, am I liable for that because I showed up and I saw her like that? Like, am I going to get a $12,000 fine?
Yeah.
About the intent behind something, right? Like, if you're intentionally being a dick, that's a totally different thing. And like, you just
this guy wasn't though. This guy wasn't. Exactly. He was just showing that he gave proper notice. He showed up at the time allotted, within an hour, right, to show him. Yeah.
Allegedly. Well, that's the thing. They're saying they asked him to give an hour's notice. And first of all, like, how long does it take to cover your hair?
3 minutes max.
Okay. So the 1 hour they asked for it. So he could have done that. I don't think he did. And he's not legally required to do so. He's only legally required to give them 24 hours notice to show the apartment.
Well, so I mean, like, that's a contentious point from some other sources, though, which I've added to the show notes. My apologies for not having put them in earlier. Apparently, these people only rented from this guy's name, seriously, John Alibi?
John Alabi.
Alabi, okay. Alibi would have been way funnier.
Yeah, because that's like, come on, dude. You just made that up.
We should keep this guy on speed dial.
Apparently, part of the issue that was brought before the tribunal was that the renters were only renting from him for 3 months after having moved to Toronto from Montreal. And in showing the unit to other prospective renters, he was regularly doing it with giving them very little notice through text message, which is not what you need to do in Ontario. Because you're required in Ontario to give 24 hours written notice as a landlord, with the exception of an emergency like a plumbing or an electrical issue.
Yeah. But that's not something for the Human Rights Tribunal to deal with. That's something for the Landlord Tenants Board to deal with.
That's right. I agree. That falls to a different non-government agency.
Yeah, like that's like it's so ridiculous. Like the whole thing is just nonsense. Like I mean, if the guy was being a jackass, then fine, whatever. But I mean, if he was just being a regular person that doesn't really know about their religion or doesn't care, then as shitty as it is, whatever. Like, imagine if it was, like a Jewish family that was renting it and like somebody came in eating a bacon sandwich or something, right? Like, would they have had the Human Rights Tribunal called on them because that's insensitive to their religious needs background?
Well, and that's the part that comes up with the Human Rights Tribunal in Ontario, is that the fine that was handed down specifically is because of his violation of their religious freedoms. Because he wore shoes in their house.
No, that doesn't stop them from practicing their religion.
Right, but that's the way that it came down from the Human Rights Tribunal, is the fine is for violating their religious freedoms. It makes no sense, and well, it's the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal. It probably doesn't have to make sense.
I'm going to start following a lot of really obscure Old Testament references and like start blowing the ram's horn and like sacrificing a bull at the altar in my place. And if anyone stops me,
dude, I've been to your place. How are you going to get a bull down those stairs?
I'm going to cut it up into little pieces.
Okay.
I mean, it could be like a baby bull, mate. A baby bull.
Fair enough.
But like,
I see you thought this out. Well done.
Veal is fucking delicious.
Yeah, whatever. Like, and if they try to stop me, well, I'm practicing my religion.
Yeah,
they
again,
better get a $12,000 ticket as well.
This is the same thing that I said about the kid in Scarborough. If anybody on this panel did it, you wouldn't get the same results because you're obviously a privileged straight white man.
Yeah, and I guess given that I have so many tattoos, claiming something other than that as a religion might be a little bit difficult. But
what if I self-identify as not that?
Only if you self-identify as an attack helicopter, and then I got a job for you with the forces.
Okay.
Does it pay well? Yeah.
No, but you get ridden around by officers, so, depends on what you're into.
But this is what struck me with this, and this is the big problem that we're just seeing. This is a new thing. And the Human Rights Tribunal, the way they went about this, it's problematic, and it's only beginning to unfold. And you can look at other parts of the government and how they react to problems like this, and kind of judge where we're going to be in the future. And last week we were talking about cultural appropriation, and there was an expert on cultural appropriation, like a lawyer for it, and they were saying that it's up to the individual who feels that their culture was appropriated to define cultural appropriation.
Right in the fields, man. Right in the fields.
Question? No, can I ask a question? What is the point of a multicultural society if it is not cultural appropriation?
Canada has no core identity, Marty.
Yeah.
Get with the time.
No, I'm just like the whole point, the melting pot, is that you adapt and you.
They're not melting.
No, but we're supposed to be a melting pot society. So we're supposed to be.
When I'm casting bullets and I'm adding lead into my melting pot, and then I put something in and it doesn't melt, I pull it out and I cast it aside. It's called dross.
Yeah, dross. Skim it off the top.
Throw it out.
But
I can't help but feel there's a metaphor in there somewhere.
I don't know, guys.
No, I never even thought about that, Gavin. No, I hope no one gets the wrong idea. But the problem is, this is with a culture appropriation, and now this Human Rights Tribunal. You take it back to harassment in the workplace. Is anyone involved in health and safety in their workplace?
Unfortunately,
I have been a health and safety rep in the past.
Okay, Marty, and I think Gavin, you're on this.
Yeah.
What constitutes harassment? How do you know when harassment has occurred?
When someone complains.
When someone feels harassed. That's it. So doesn't matter if they're sane or insane or delicate or tough as like I don't know what's tough. But you know, it's just when they feel harassed. That is a harassment according to Ontario.
Yeah.
That's harassment. And that's going to become what is a cultural appropriation. If you feel your culture is being appropriated, that will be that'll be like the red, like green light that cultural appropriation has happened. And this is what's going to happen, I believe, with the Human Rights Tribunal. So,
but the problem is that
if you can show me the formula or the chemical reaction or the physical reaction of objects and explain it with physics or chemistry or whatever, what affront happened when that fellow walked through the property that he dared to own and rent out to people with his shoes on. If you can show me what happened.
Guys, this is all ridiculous, and some lawyer is licking their chops to run an appeal case through this.
My biggest problem with the whole thing is like if you're going to have a rule and it's going to be that way and it's going to be like when somebody feels offended or whatever, fine, but it needs to be applied fairly. That's the problem, is that it's not being applied fairly.
No, this shouldn't be a rule. This is stupid.
No, but I agree. But like the thing is though, like so, like there's certain minority groups that are getting special treatment right now. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you had somebody come into your home,
dissolve the Human Rights Tribunal, and while we're at it, let's dissolve the Landlord Tenants Board and maybe the post office and the rest of the government.
And that's the
idiots doing idiot things because they're idiots.
Yeah, but the people that will champion and get behind this Human Rights Tribunal are the same people who've been bashing the Catholic Church for like the past 20 years.
Well, and that's exactly my point. Like, I mean, if you had some sort of like, you know, statue of Mary, like a lot of Filipino people have in their front hall or whatever, right? And somebody did something inappropriate to that, nobody would probably bat an eye at it because, you know, oh, it's Christianity, that's okay. You know, they'd maybe have a case because, you know, you could say, oh, well, it was racial because they're Filipino or whatever. But like, you know, like there's certain groups that are going to get special treatment and people are going to believe their hurt feelings are more important than other people's hurt feelings, and that's the biggest problem.
That is a big problem, but the bigger problem than that is the government is cashing in on this shit.
Well, yeah.
A year ago, I was up visiting a friend, and this guy's brother-in-law was a foreman on a construction site. They were building a highway, and he had a new guy on about 21, 22, and he was walking in front of a dump truck backing up, just like the scary videos they had in the 80s, talking about workplace safety. And he yelled at this guy, probably something like, "Hey, open your fucking eyes! You just walked in front of a dump truck."
Yeah,
and he yelled at this guy. 2 days later, he had an Ontario human rights person, like not human rights, human resources. And like two people from the government came up and pulled him aside and told him that, hey, you yell at a worker here the other day, and that's not really allowed. You're supposed to make this worker feel comfortable.
Well, how dare he try and save somebody's life?
Well, I guess that's the solution. Is you're just supposed to let the guy walk in front of the dump truck, but then he'll get crushed.
But then you know he'd get in trouble because he was the site foreman. How come he let somebody walk in front of a dump truck? Dump trucks cost money. Now they're going to have to fix it.
But negligence is far less of a crime.
It doesn't take it on. It only doles it out. And like I always say, like if your business gets hit so hard that you have to sell a $400,000 house and buy a $200,000 house, government collects taxes on it, $600,000.
Yeah.
They just take and take and take.
So now
it's a doc with a boner drag weeds.
Pretty good. All right, let's go into the Philpott report. This is named in honor of the health minister, Jane Philpott. Every week we try and find something stupid in the news that our government has spent money on. This week
we found one.
Every week we pick which one we want to use.
That's right. There is generally no shortage of items to select for the Philpott report, but this one, I couldn't pass it up. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took Ivanka Trump and a group of diplomats and business officials to a Broadway musical. They bought 600 tickets. That's right, 600 tickets.
Holy shit!
Something called "Come From Away."
Why is every goddamn headline highlighting that Ivanka Trump and then others? It was 600 people. I mean, like representatives from
clearly they're not anywhere
Qatar and
was there?
Kuwait,
Turkmenistan, Serbia, Qatar.
Oh
right, like all those other countries.
Former PM Jean Chrétien.
Right. Why is it only Ivanka Trump that's been highlighted for this bullshit?
I think ever since the
because of the media bias.
Yeah,
some residents of Gander, Newfoundland, who took in stranded airline passengers, were invited to see the show and hear Trudeau speak before opening curtain.
Hey Marty, I think you have a clip of that.
Morons and their jackasses.
Holy shit!
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to work with the Ethics Commissioner to answer any questions she may have.
That was what he said in front of the crowd.
So, yes, there's a bunch of things that upset me about this. The first of which is the obvious media bias that Justin Trudeau took Ivanka Trump on this thing. Well,
but that plays into their narrative that they're trying to say that she has a thing for him ever since like they all went down and met and like she was giving him the eyes or whatever in like one photograph.
Oh yeah, they got the one photo.
Yeah, and that Trump is, like a terrible husband and a molester and all of those things, like.
Well, yeah, the leftist media-driven narrative that Trump is evil and we need to have the name recognition with his wife there.
Yeah, he's actually even worse than Stephen Harper.
I heard that Trump is literally Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so was Stephen Harper. I mean, like, was he double Hitler or?
No, just also literally Hitler.
He had an even smaller mustache.
Yeah. Like, Harper was like Hitler light, and Trump is
right.
full blown like
Justin
evil Hitler.
Trudeau.
The other one, sorry.
Overall, I don't think this was a terrible thing. I wish our government wouldn't do this, but when you look at the cost per ticket for entertainment, I'm sure there was more cost associated with this than just the $30,000 for tickets.
Of course.
But $50 a head to take people to a theater, that's not terrible. They had a 600-person delegation. They filled a theater. This is stupid, but unfortunately it's a drop in the bucket that we've talked about before.
$50 a head to see a Canadian theater, though. I see at that point.
Yeah, it's a little pricey, but I mean...
It's got to be better than anything on the CBC.
Now, I have no idea what this come from away thing is. I'm sure it's terrible, but...
Oh, yeah, but still better than anything on the CBC.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Probably
I would very much like it if we would stop spending money on stupid things, because that's $30,000 that could go to something useful, like my local hospital is in desperate need of a new MRI machine.
Or helicopters.
I don't think $30,000 would get me a whole MRI machine, but I think it would get me pretty close to an MRI machine.
So, okay. You can make the argument, and I'll take that for $50 a head for 600 people is relatively inexpensive. Why was there 600 people invited to this thing?
Because there were 600 seats in the theater, obviously.
Yeah, and the 4 tickets for Come to Away were shared by RCMP and U.S. Secret Service. Shared by ours. Okay, so there were only, let's give them the reasonable doubt here. There were only 2 RCMP members and 2 Secret Service agents watching these people.
Oh, no. That had seats. The executive protection people aren't allowed to actually go and sit and watch the show.
Well, that, and I mean, if they had only 2 tickets for Trudeau and Ivanka, that would be inappropriate because they're both married to other people. So they needed the other 598 people there to make it appropriate.
That's a lot of chaperones. Mm-hmm. It's a whole lot of chaperones.
I like the fact that the media thinks that she would give him the time of day at all.
I don't think that. They're just trying to manufacture interest. It's pathetic.
It is. Yeah. I would like.
Wouldn't that be great if they did have a secret affair though?
No, because
I think that would be hilarious.
Then the country with a lot of attack helicopters would be coming after us, and we don't have nearly enough.
Yeah, but what would happen? Trudeau would get aroused, and then you'd get confused on how Ivanka could bang his wife.
Wait. From all reports, Ivanka seems to be a decently intelligent woman. I mean, she's a successful businesswoman. What the fuck is she gonna have to talk to with Trudeau? There's no similarities there. He's a degenerate.
They both have nice hair.
Yes, they could give each other hair tips.
They probably could. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And I got to tell you, I'm from a town of 500 people, and I don't know,
hey,
3/4.
Easy there.
Big
fancy.
Boy.
Yeah.
It's literally Marty and his neighbors. That is it.
Oh,
Marty.
I'm from a big town compared to where I grew up.
All right, that's all I got for the Philpott report. You guys have any other commentary?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all.
It's
awesome. It's
every week. It's the Liberals giving no shits as to where the money is coming from. It's you and I funding their bullshit. It's the same thing every week.
Yeah.
All right, Gavin, you want to tell everybody about the charity shoot?
I certainly do. The 7th annual Podcaster Charity Shoot is coming up. We will be your hosts. There's some other great podcasts that are helping us out with this. It will be at Guelph Rod and Gun Club on July 8th and supporting Many to One. Registration costs will be $40. There's also a carbine class being taught by our very own Andrew of Ragnarok Tactical the day before on the Friday, so July the 7th. Cost of that is going to be $200. All of those proceeds, again, go to Many to One.
Hopefully Andrew doesn't use an NEA rifle during that course.
No, won't be using an NEA rifle.
No.
No offense to NEA.
It's okay. They were never going to sponsor the show anyway.
No, all offense to NEA.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed about that rifle right now.
And if you want to register, you should do that because there's just under 2 months away. There's still some spaces left, so get on there and do that. You can do that at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, and at the top there's a link that says 7th Annual Canadian Firearms Podcasters Charity Shoot. I'd give you the whole link, but it's really, really long, so just go to CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, click the link, sign up. It'll be awesome. Great place to network and hang out, have a good time. It'll be good for people that have never shot before. We will have loaner guns if needed, but you're going to need to let us know ahead of time so we can get you some ammo and all that squared away. But it'll be a great time. It'll be fun for everyone. Come out, support a good cause, and meet all of us drunken assholes. Only we won't be drunk at the range because that's inappropriate. Afterwards, we would definitely.
Afterwards, that's right.
Yeah.
The one fun thing is we actually were able to ask our Prime Minister if he's going to be out at the Canadian podcast. And so here's his response.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to sit and work with the Ethics Commissioner on answering any of the questions she may have. That's the kind of things that is important to Canadians.
Sounds about right.
I do actually.
I think that's a yes.
Have confirmation that an MP will be there.
Ooh.
Yes.
Awesome.
One from Ottawa.
It's a secret. You'll have to be there to see who it is.
Yeah,
it's worth it. It's going to be worth it.
That really narrows it down in terms of the MPs that are in Ottawa.
It'll be one that everybody likes. That's been in the news, well, infrequently, but
he may or may not have a fantastic book.
Yeah, he may have been on a deployment or two.
Does he have legs?
Ooh,
or she?
Side chain, eh?
Yeah, I don't know if they quite have like 11 deployments, but they've got a few.
Did you want to say, like,
all right,
what hotel we're using?
Yeah,
no, there's no hotels. No one wants us.
Yeah, so find your own damn hotel.
The Days Inn.
Yeah, if you can get a room at the Days Inn, we'll all be there.
Call the Days Inn.
Yeah, a bunch of people are staying at the Days Inn. But
get the discount. Say, we got guns and shit.
Yeah,
That's the code.
don't actually do that, because that's what I did, and it didn't go so well.
That's the special rate code. We got guns and shit. A-N apostrophe shit.
Yeah, no D.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, and because we cannot keep up with the ridiculousness that is our government, we have the occasional Thursday episodes. And unfortunately, due to the lack of Patreon support, we still needed to go to work this week. There was no Thursday episode. Fix that. Support our Patreon and let us not go to our daily jobs, and we will have a Thursday episode this week.
$1 a month, people, and you get a picture. Is it $1 or $2?
$2.
Yeah, $2, people. Less than a cost of coffee or a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Yeah. And what is it? There's a Tim's Good Tea in there for you as well.
Yeah, if you up your contribution level, there are some excellent rewards.
Yeah, I think was it $5 for Tim's Good Tea?
Oh, you guys are putting me on the spot, and I don't have the Patreon open. I think it's $5 an episode gets you a
just for you people who don't know.
You get to be a join us for the after show.
God, I forgot we had that as an option. For $10 an episode, you can be on the after show. We're super drunk and rowdy.
Oh yeah.
That's
not
It's
a Dutch rudder with Andrew.
Yeah.
A Dutch rudder.
Yep. It's kind of like a Dutch mother, but a little bit more.
I'm gonna have to talk about that with our creative director.
Something like $40 to get you a 2-minute spoon with Gavin.
Yep.
I don't know about
I get to be
this.
the big spoon though.
You're the outer spoon.
Yeah.
Brutus is in there somewhere too.
So confused.
For those of you who don't remember,
gonna happen here.
I know. But for those listeners who don't remember, patreon.com/CPP, that's Charlie Pablo, to sign up.
It's pop-up, but
whatever.
I like Pablo. Let's change it. It's Pablo now.
We have to diversify.
Oh, should it not be then Carlos Pablo?
I think we'll go Pablo
Espanol.
Pablo until they build a wall.
It's Pablo.
Come on, guys. You guys are supposed to get your ham radio licenses. Learn your phonetic alphabets.
Ham is delicious.
I know the phonetic alphabet, and I'm still confused.
It's Pablo.
I'm with Tim on this one. Ham is delicious.
Yeah.
Worst
I don't know why
podcast
you don't like
host ever.
to eat ham. That's ridiculous.
All right, what's the social media outro time? We're starting to get to that after show point. Gavin, or
yes, definitely. The best place to find me is on the Instagrams. You can find me at urbex_GTA or on the Facebooks. You can find me with Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders, tkpaynation.com.
Marty has his carrier pigeons.
I'm down one, but we made it the rest of the episode. We're doing all right.
Your voice processor is still working, I see.
Yeah, doing
His
all right.
brain is a learning computer.
Come with me if you want a podcast.
Yeah, get to the Sea King. Nah. That was terrible. I'm sorry for everyone who heard that.
I'm not. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
You want to tell everybody about the CCFR, Sean?
Yeah, firearmrights.ca. Check us out. We got a store. Become a member. We're fighting right in Ottawa. Tracy Wilson, God bless her soul. She's giving it her all as a lobbyist down there. And also, if any of the flood victims are having trouble, give me a shout on the Facebooks. I do have a public page. I can get the message relayed if you don't remember the email, info@firearmrights.ca. And also be sure to check out the Regina Wildlife Federation on the website, reginafordwildlifefederation.com, and the Facebooks, Regina Wildlife Federation. We got stuff coming on, including Maple Sea next month. I think
nice.
June 28th. Yeah, we got Kelly and Rick and all those guys coming down, and we sold out in 2 days. So it'll be.
How do they get to go and visit before we do? I'm calling bullshit on that.
Because we're paying for it.
So, Sean, I have to say, as someone whose internet can't support webcam, you must have the worst webcam I've ever seen.
Why? Is it terrible? What's going on?
It looks like a potato.
How about I just go like this and for you guys, you don't get to see my face. How about that?
He's got a great personality. The camera refuses to focus.
I got a face for radio, guys. What can I say?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with your focus, but it went a little bit wonky there at the end.
Yeah. It's the beer. My webcam's getting beer goggles. I think I'm at 6 or 7 right now. So anyway,
Tim, where can we find you on the internet?
You could on the internet. I was going to say I had an answer all made up. You threw me a curveball.
I'm sorry. What would you like the question to be?
It's the liberal hour. Ask the question you want to answer.
Tim, can you tell the listeners when the last time you met the ethics commissioner was?
I was just going to say.
I will be at the Canadian Patriot. No, wait. The Canadian Podcaster. What's that thing called?
It's the 7th annual Canadian Firearms Podcaster Charity Shoot.
I'm looking.
That thing.
That charity shoot. Yeah. I'll be there.
Sweet.
Funnier when I'm drunk.
You can find him in the days in roaming around, hammered after hours.
Peddling shirts.
Yeah. I'll be sleeping in the flower bed.
Awesome. As always, my name is Andrew. You can find me on RagnarokTactical.com or this place on Monday night where we're drunk and I'm sad about our government.
And Thursday nights.
Yes. And maybe Thursday nights if we do the show like we said we were going to do.
Yes.
Maybe
if we get enough Patreons.
Hey, you know what?
Mildly guided train wreck.
If we can get enough Patreons that I can do this full time, I will do this full time.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you want to buy some shit and help Ragnarok Tactical, if we can make that enough money that I can do that full time, I'm bringing in an HSGI order on June the 1st. It's currently the 15th of May. You have 2 whole weeks.
511 order.
Yeah, if you want 511. Yeah, 511's coming in too. 511 and HSGI. If there's stuff that you
Blue
want,
Force gear.
I think I threw
don't
some
know.
stuff from Surefire on there too. So
Blue Force gear is not being good about slings. I am trying to get Blue Force gear slings so very hard, but the rep that I'm dealing with is not the most customer service oriented person I've ever worked with.
Running a country, you know.
Yeah.
You should take it to the Human Rights Tribunal.
I'd probably get $12,000 if it was about my religion.
Well, technically, it is our religion. So
my religion is getting me some goddamn slings to sell.
And AR that works. No pun intended.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So NEA. No, not NEA. HSGI and 511 stuff. June the 1st. Podcast listeners can use the code Patriot. No, wait, that's free shipping. Check the show notes. There'll be something for 5% off. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm drunk.
Oh, I just accidentally closed the show notes.
All right, Andrew, what's your website? Hey, wait, Andrew, what's your website?
Visit RagnarokTactical.com.
There you go.
And we have to apologize to Rodgill Tack. I'm afraid we just could not fit him in the show this evening. Both him and my massive bottle of booze would not fit. Find the podcast, CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, or on Facebook, Facebook.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast. If everybody could do me a like and please... if everybody could do me a like and go have a favor. Yeah, no, that's not right. Do me a favor. Go click like. Because apparently there's something called the Canadian Patriot Radio Show.
Not us.
That I've recently been getting messages about. No, not us. But it's gone from 100 likes to 1,000 likes in the course of a week.
What?
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't understand. I would like to be the #1 Canadian Patriot thing in Canada again. So if we could get some Facebook likes, that would really help me. If you want to send us feedback and tell us what we did to offend you, where the internet hurt you.
Yeah, where the Human Rights Tribunal can find us.
Yeah, if you're from the Human Rights Tribunal and you'd like to fine us, you can send that ticket along with any other hate mail you have to feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I would like to remind you, like I do every week, that you are the true North, strong and free.